Welcome to Day Affirm the Real.
Welcome
I
everybody
apologize for
to a
all the
day
technical
affirming
issues
the
I had with my
real,
audio,
the Wednesday
but
night
please still
special.
enjoy the content. Thank you.
Wednesday night live. Today we have two dorm members who have recently, I don't know if you can say recently, but they are engaged. And
Recently? Yeah.
Say what?
Recently?
Recently engaged. Okay.
Yeah.
And first of all, let's introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
I'm Keith Smith. Y'all know me from the first time we aired this thing.
Very first one.
The very first one.
Oh, and I'm Rhonda. Hey, girls. Hey, girl, hey. Hey, girl, hey. I am an Arkansas native. I've been in Dallas for about 13 years now. Living life and loving it. Yeah, that's me. What else y'all need? Last word on social? No, okay. I'm going to give it to you.
No need for it.
Hey, and let's go ahead and get everybody prepared because Rhonda is funny as hell. So y'all just be prepared for, her funny inserts throughout, okay?
So,
I'll be on
he was part of the very first DAR event. It was an all-males panel. And if you go back to our YouTube page, you can see that. It's a two-part episode. It was called Lean in Love Conversations, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
We had a married guy in there. We had a Christian guy in there. And we had what you call a player guy in there. And Keith, I don't really put the business out there like that. You wasn't the Christian guy, and you wasn't the married guy.
It's quite all right. It's quite all right.
But it is all right because I'm proud of it, because I'm proud of you, I should say. I'm proud of it and you because it's a progression from that time a year ago to the stage you are now is what it's all about,
And to piggyback is proof that just because someone starts at a place doesn't mean they'll end at that place.
Right on. And so that's why we want to bring it up. And this is why we want to bring you on, because this is what you call a success story. And I'm proud of your story and congratulations story.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. So, put it out there though, me and Keith been cool for a couple of years now. So I knew him through certain stages of his life. And I got a chance to firsthand see the progression of where he's at now. And from this point to that point, I'm not gonna get in details, but to see that, hey, at this point, I don't know, you might have passed me, bro. I don't know. I might have to make it a competition.
No, man, it's called keep up, not catch up.
Not a competition. Not with this guy. Competitive too. It's not. It's bad, guys. She is too. Blink 2 times. You need help, Rhonda.
Oh.
I warned y'all. You ain't got no stitches on your side.
Man, that's all transparent over here, girl.
So Rhonda, I actually knew you as well.
Yeah.
Before I knew you was even dating Keith.
Right. So I knew you before Kia, and I knew Kia before Marcus. So it was like, wow. So that's another success story. Yeah.
Like Lion King, Circle of Life around here.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's talk about how you met though. How does all kick off?
It's a Circle of Life. Well, from my view, I was literally just going to a cigar event in Uptown. Smokers Wild, Jeff Davis, and the guys was having a rooftop party. It was about to be Christmas time. You remember that? Okay. And so it was 2021.
Yeah.
I don't recall seeing, I don't know, y'all might have been there later, I'm not sure. But anyway, it was him and Chris and Alfred and all them was having a rooftop smoke event. And I literally pulled in, bagged my car in, because, you know, real players back in, so you ain't got to, like, you know, you just pull it off, you know what I'm saying? Right. Had my sneakers on because you can't drive in heels, Kia, you know what I'm saying? And that day, I was intentionally being a girl. For the people's watching, I love my sneakers and I'm a whole dude sometimes, right? But I'm working on it. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So that particular day, I was like, you know, I'm getting cute. First time I wore some lashes, I was like, okay, I can do this, you know, whatever. So literally, I parked, backed in, and it was this guy was pulling in. So we were literally on the same side. Our driver's doors was on the same side. So I look over, he gets out, you know, he thought he was clean. We was cute, though. He had a little blazer, a little fedora. And so he was standing at the front of my truck. Like he was about to walk in too. So clearly we was going to the same event, right? So he was still just standing at the front of my truck. And I'm like, looking at him like, do I know him? Do I recognize him? He got like all blue on, like maybe a Sigma. I was like, nah, he's not a Sigma. I thought he was one of my frat brothers, but I kept looking at him. He just kept looking at his watch, and he just was standing there. And so, me being the person I am, I rolled my window down. Sir, can I help you with something? And so he was like, oh, well, actually, I'm just going to walk you in. I was like, oh, well, let me hurry up. Get my little gloss together, you know. So, got out the car, and he was like, wow, you keep going. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty tall, you know. And I was like, don't do that. Like off the rip. Like, that's not play the dozen, okay? Because I am tall. All right. So, what's your name? What's your name? We exchanged that. And that's literally how we met in the parking lot. And so as we were walking up to the front door, he knows everybody that I know. And we look at each other like, well, I ain't never seen you. You know the same people? Like, literally the same people. Like, I was like, oh, gosh. Okay. Nothing bad. It's just I was. It just went from there.
So when parking lot pimping turns to an engagement, I tell you.
Like a player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's how it went, though.
When a player minutes match, that's all it was. That's all it was.
Yep.
You know.
They were trying to turn that player card in, man. That's all it was, Marcus.
You got out pimped. Anyway.
Oh, man.
Look, if you look at it, he'll smoking up sick.
This how we met, baby. This how we met.
And then you play. Sometimes.
I mean, we got to have an even playing field somewhere. Like, say.
Oh, wow. So, let's get into it. So, I got to ask you, Keith, you know, what when you was dating it, okay, what did you look for? It's like, I know I want a good woman. I know I want to change. I want to have someone. What in your outlook changed, and what did you do different, you know, to pursue? Let's say, Rondo, what did you do different in your pursuit?
So, what I did different from what I did before, like I looked at the person. I didn't look what you had or what you got or what you're getting or where you're going. I just wanted to see, you know, if I could just genuinely meet somebody. And that's basically how it happened. It was just genuinely, I was just trying to walk a young lady into a cigar event. Versus if I would have been the old me, I just wanted to walk on in and wouldn't have thought nothing about it. So my outlook is just, you know, I was just doing something different out of the norm. You know, I'm looking at the looks, I'm looking at the physique, I'm looking at what you're driving, you know, I'm looking how you're moving. Versus I got out of my comfort zone, you know, and I'm glad I did because I got out my way. I was my own biggest problem.
That's that accountability.
Yeah.
And
That's what we talk about all the time.
Accountability, you know, like we was talking to Shy last week.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have to look at yourself and say, what am I doing wrong? If I was perfect, I wouldn't be in this situation. I would never had this situation. I never do this. Even in all our relationships, we may not be the biggest culprit, but we played a part in some way, somehow.
We're always the common denominator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what she said. You know, so with that being said, so let me ask you, well, before Keith, and when you out dating, and what was your outlook? What did you see out of the dating world? What was your perception?
That the dating pool had pee in it. It was sewage water, Mark.
Oh,
Well, you know, I'm just being very honest. I mean, but again, like you said, hold yourself accountable, right? And
yeah.
I found myself kind of going into, maybe Kia can attest to this, that you kind of find yourself following into that negativity when it comes down to dating. Like, men is this, men is that. And like, you see it all the time, you read it all the time. And I had to literally break away from that because I know all men ain't, it's somebody out there for you at the end of the day, right? So I had to break away from that. And then another thing, I had to do, and I was being very intentional on this, is to break away from all the old stuff, like all the old residue. I call them bookmarks. The bookmark is only to put in the place, so you come back to it, then you read a little bit, you come back to it. I have to throw all my bookmarks away. Like, I'm done, like I can't, because it's really not progressive, it's not going anywhere. So why are we wasting each other's time?
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So in order to, I was being more intentional because I'm getting older. Like my life was life and hard. And so I just, you know, set aside time, like, you know, Rhonda, I wasn't planning on trying to meet nobody at a cigar event. I really wasn't. I was going out there to be with the girls, trying to be cute for one day without my Jordans. You know, and so I was, but I did. There's a truck, but at the same time, I didn't. I did that for like I intentionally, like I took things off of my algorithms on Facebook, Instagram. Like I don't want to read any of that negativity about men and dating. I mean, because you, at the end of the day, we all are out here trying to meet someone and better ourselves. But if you already have like a preconceived notion on what you ain't gonna be done. The first thing you see, the first red flag you see, I'm good. Throwing in the towel, on to the next one. But there could very well be someone there before you. It's just a casual conversation. Just have a conversation, you know, literally a conversation about stuff instead of just walking away throwing, whatever, he ain't nothing. He did the same thing somebody else did. I stopped doing it intentionally.
That's awesome. So I want to piggyback on that from a woman to a woman. First, I want to touch on, I love the bookmark reference, because that's actually, a lot of people do that, men and women. And so I think that's a good point. And it's a good thing to even be self-aware about, to even notice, right? Like, okay, let me get rid of the bookmark so that I can attract more of what it is that I really want. Additionally, you said I intentionally, so you made a conscious choice and decision to know and be aware of the fact that maybe certain things you were looking at on social media was influencing you. Even when I was going through that same transformation, I was like, it's certain people, it's certain things, it's certain places that I have to stop going to or stop listening to, or my evolution can't come with those things. And right. So that's a good, that's really informative, and I hope some other women can have some takeaway from that, because that was a huge advancement for me in terms of attracting a healthier partner and not getting the same person with a different name and a different look, because I'm getting the same person over and over. They just look different and they had a different name.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, it was, you know, that's cool for men and women.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want to get healthy, change your diet.
Right.
That part.
Yeah. Keep eating trash. Your body gonna look like trash. And hey, speaking of body, bro, I'm an asshole, so I gotta tell you this. I am so glad you got your shirt on today. So I'm gonna keep who never wears the shirt.
Mr. Dapper guy.
Oh.
Matter of fact, he wears a sleeveless birthday suit.
Oh.
So from bottom of my heart, I'm glad because you got a shirt on.
I did it for you, brother. I did it for you.
So,
That's funny.
so I'm curious. Tell me how this engagement went. How did the engagement go? How did he propose to you?
You want to go first?
Would your version be better?
It's probably.
Okay.
We know y'all got two different stories.
Yeah, you do.
We was in the same place.
That was the same place, same time.
Two different stories. Yeah.
With the same person in here.
With the yeah, it was crazy. Well, one night we was riding. I think he was coming from somewhere. And this is when I knew, like, he was like, and I was like, oh, I'm for real. You know, he's for real. He was like, so we was coming back from eating. We was riding on 635, I remember. And he's like, so, you know, you want to be Mrs. Smith? Mrs. Smith? And I was driving, and I'm like, yeah. He was like, wait, what? And he was like, oh, for real? No, I'm for real. He said, oh, I'm for real. And I was like, yeah, bro, like, yeah. You know, like, I'm cool with that. This is a super alias name, like yours, Ron Smith. We're going to get pulled over every time in the airport. It's perfectly fine, you know. So we laughed about it. We literally laughed about it. But then, like, when the next day, I was like, oh, dog, you really said it, like, for real, for real. So I'm like, okay. Didn't think nothing of it. So months passed at this point in time. And I remember it was October. We was in the smoke room smoking. My best friend was in town. And he wanted to make it a point that she be here whenever he popped the question. Her travel plans changed. She ended up coming a week earlier. So that day, I was like, oh, yeah, Tommy's going to be in the town. He was like, what? Wait. Oh, yeah, okay. And I'm like, okay. So he started, like, I'm, like, getting out of frigid. I'm, like, regular life for me. Like, oh, it's Tommy. She, you know, she moved to Charlotte. And she's here in Dallas, but she moved to Charlotte. She come back and visit periodically. And she always stayed with us. And so she gets here, get on plane, Uber to the house. I'm looking a hot mess, like hot mess. Well, that particular day was something. It was October, it was kind of chilly. And my dad recently passed, but he had a sweatshirt. Well, him and my mom got matching sweatshirts, and he has his initials on it. And I just put it on every now and then, you know, like, oh, it's my dog, you know. And I had it on that day. And Tommy's like, you got your dad's sweatshirt on. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling daddy today, you know. Nothing heavy, you know. So we sat there smoking, had some drinks. He had called Tommy. He kept calling Tommy's phone, and she don't do music. Like, she wouldn't know how to hook up a Bluetooth speaker or none of that. Like, she's just not that person. So she was like, oh, I need to put this song on. I'm like, what? I'm the one always control the music. I'm DJing here, right? And so she was like, well, maybe just play it on YouTube or something. I can't find it. And I'm like, what song is it? You know, she's like, I don't even remember what it is. But she kept leaving out the room, coming back, and it was just a lot of action. And I'm like, it's totally out of her regular life, right? Yeah. So I'm like, okay. He says he's going to get a haircut, which is a normal thing for him. I'm going to get a haircut. I'll be back. You know. All right. See you later. No biggie. Finally get the song on. It's Whitney Houston. I'm Your Baby Tonight. I was like, oh, okay. So he comes in, and we're literally sitting here, and he looking all giddy. I'm like, okay. Not even pictures, but Whitney Houston's our song because we were singing karaoke like all the time in the car and stuff. So I heard that. I'm like, Tommy, you don't even know who this is. He's like, I know it's Whitney Houston. I'm like, how would you know that? You know, I'm like, You two people like y'all conjuring us and stuff like that. So yeah, literally, I literally said like we are right now. He came in, he was like, well, Rhonda, I've been, and he just kind of nervous, basically nervous. So he gets down on one knee and, asks me to be his forever baby tonight and baby forever, and like profess his whole love and stuff. And I was like,
Oh,
what? Like, are you serious? And of course I said yes. And she videoed the whole thing, but I was just like utter shock. Like, what? Like,
But
seriously?
remember when we did the one session at y'all crib in the pool hall or the pool room.
Yeah.
And I told everybody I loved her on Facebook Live.
Oh yeah.
That's where it started from.
yeah.
I'm like, I can't take that back. I can't take that back.
And I was like, look the mic.
Get him from up there, Marcus.
Yeah.
Get over here.
But it's all been like, cause again, like I said, like intentionally, like I had to get away from the residue. So he basically was showing me versus telling me. He has shown me everything he said he's gonna do. He's done it, and I'm all about consistency. Like, I'm not from Missouri, but to show me state, like, show me what you're talking about versus just being about talking. And so that is what really set him apart from like anybody else I've ever dated. So I had to literally take you serious at this point, because this is what I asked for. So now if I would have been like, whatever, I'll play myself. And I'm not about to play myself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, like it's about to really happen. So I was in shock. I still am. I still am. Like,
Go ahead, Rhonda.
I'm fine. Go ahead.
You're glad.
That's how it went. That's the engagement. That's how. Well, that was my version. Like, he might sing something different.
That's
People
it.
say nothing different.
It ain't nothing different. But the only difference in her story and my story, she wasn't paying no attention to me at one point in time. When I walked in, we hugged, I kissed, I hugged my sister, and the music was playing on the TV out here, and they was having their little situation. I had got down on one knee, and when she turned around, it was like, bam.
Yeah.
What we doing? How we gonna do this?
Like,
So what was the time span from the time he said it in the car, Rhonda, to the actual him getting on his knee?
I think it was maybe 4 months. 4 gone on 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, of course you hear people like, oh, it's too soon, right? Y'all just mad. You hear all the naysayers and all that. That's another thing I had to look, bro. Like, just, it ain't even your life. Why are you so invested in my life? It's not even your life. Like, really? You don't even know who you don't even know him like that. I'm like,
You gotta start somewhere.
you gotta start somewhere. I don't believe in tarrying long and stuff. That's just me. I don't know. And I'm all about also if it's
business.
So,
like, period.
So this is my question.
I mean, I don't.
This is my question to everybody that's gonna watch this, everybody who's gonna view this, everybody who's gonna like this, love this, thumb it up, thumb it down, heart it. It don't take you 100 years to know if you want to be with somebody. It doesn't. It don't. I don't care how you look at it, how you chop it up and screw it. I knew the time that I met Rhonda and the time that we hung out, I was like, I could do this for the rest of my life, because it's something that I chose to do it. I wasn't forced to do it. Nobody twisted my arm about it. But I talked to my brother Marcus. I talked to Jeff. I talked to her mom. I talked to my mom. Like, I talked to everybody in the circle. And I was like, I'm not looking for blessings, but I just want y'all to, let me know, like, what I'm trying to walk into, because I'm a big stepper. And the only person that I was really, really, really worried about was Mama Lorraine.
That's my mom. But
that was the only person that I was like, and she was like, no, baby, you got my blessings. Oh, man.
So when I called her, she was like, oh, so he finally did it. Ooh. He been sitting my nerve calling me and FaceTiming me, and I'm like, boy, if you don't just go ahead, I'm like, oh, so you was in on it too. I like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But, But yeah, that's how it happened.
Well, one of the best things I love about that story is how a lot of times we talk about traditionalists versus like this new stuff, but I do appreciate Keith's approach with, contacting your mom, wanting your best friend to be there, because that means he was paying attention to you and he knew what was important to you versus just, okay, I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it. Yeah. I feel like he observed you. I feel like he was in tune with you to do it the way that he felt like would be the most memorable and intentional and romantic for you, right? Because all of us have all these different thoughts about what that should look like. Right. Some people want these extravagant social media engagements and all of that, but you knew exactly what you were going to need, what was going to penetrate your heart and mean something to you. And that, I think, like, that's major.
It is, and that just goes
that he told me like that.
Yeah, because he was so in love with you. That was his focus. That's what he wanted. That's what his mind was. That's what all that mattered to him. Everything else was minor. His job was to protect you, make you happy. That's what he lived for. And I appreciate that, and I also appreciate you, Rhonda, because all the steps you did prior to that, to accept everything that was coming your way. Like the bookmark, get rid of bookmarks, and all this, the PP in the pool doesn't matter anymore. It's a whole new pool, it's a whole new wave, and you did all that. So when he came along, it was right, and the work he did with himself to say, I'll finish. I'm gonna be the man that I want to be, or his queen, or his princess. So I couple both of you for this.
Yeah, it's an amazing story. I'm so glad you guys are sharing this with us because it again reiterates your thoughts and your beliefs about relationships is what you will get back. And you both made conscious decisions about, okay, this is how I'm going to pivot in my thinking. This is how I'm going to pivot in how I'm doing certain things. And then what happens? You both are attracted to each other and you both make it happen. And that's the amazing part because it debunks the whole concept of all men are bad or all women are this. You all are living proof that debunks that.
It's do it, man. You got to want to do it, though.
Yeah.
You have to want to do, this type of commitment. And like I tell y'all earlier, like, I had to get out of my way. I had to stop trying to do it everybody else way, or, how everybody thought or how everybody thinking right now, this is how I should do it, or this how it should be done. I did it the way that I wanted to do it, and I did it with the person that I wanted to do it to, versus all the other narratives.
I love it.
Yeah, and how you said, this is my person, this is screw the time frames. That everybody time frame is not everybody else's time frame.
Right.
You felt it was right. She felt it was right.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah. So kudos.
That's it.
So now let's get on some more fun stuff. This wedding. How's the planning going?
Well, I'm gonna start how we picked our dates. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It wasn't something that she wanted to do. We took 8 months and we dropped it in a hat, and we each pulled a month out. And I got August, and I was like, nah, I don't want August because that's my birthday month. Then she pulled another one out, but then we got something to do in that month, so we were like, okay, well, we're gonna go with August. So it was supposed to be what, August 5th?
It's supposed to be like August 7th, the first Saturday in August. It was like August 7th.
But we got something to do.
It was something going on. I was like, oh, it ain't gonna be. So I said, we'll pull again. So we ended up literally pulling the 19th, and his birthday's on the 20th. I was like, well, we can't stop it because we can't keep pulling because we'll never come up with something, you know? So I was like, okay, cool. I didn't really care to have a huge wedding. I mean, no, first time I've been married, but I never envisioned that for myself. I just wanted something quaint, small, intimate, boom, and let's party, let's kick it, let's, you know, do that. And so we went from, okay, we're just gonna go to Just to the Peace and do it. And I was like, just do it. Because all my family is in Arkansas. And my dad is no longer here, but I still have siblings and I still got a mom and my nieces. And I got a huge family. He has a huge family too. So it's like, okay, well, I did this before and it's fine, Rhonda, whatever you want to do. I was like, but this is not just about me. This is about you too, you know. Yeah, you've been married before, totally get it, but I'm not them. So this is the way we're going to do it. We're going to do it like we want to do it. So calling around, doing all that, come up with, let's do a cruise. So we literally called and I was like, oh, this is pretty dope, you know. You do the embarkment wedding, you get up to 50 non-sailors, and you can get as many sailors as you want. And I was like, let's make it a vacation. We took a vacation and just do it that way. And he was like, okay, so called, did all the planning, got a planning coordinator and all that good stuff. It come with food. They gonna have your decorations. They have your cake. They have a DJ. So we still get a ceremony as well as a reception, and then everybody else that's 50 that ain't selling have to leave, and then they'll let all the people that's actually going on their cruise later that day dock, and we go for 7 days. So it was like, and we're going out of New Orleans. So we decided to make a whole weekend out of it. We leave on Friday, we get married on Sunday morning. It lasts an hour and a half, 2 hour max. So then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go get a wedding dress. And I was like, this is cool, right? So I was like, I'm kind of getting into it like, okay, I can do this. And it just was it's what we both wanted. It's smart, fast, and money efficient. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it really is. And then we also get a chance to celebrate with our family and our closest friends as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes down to the guest list, Black folks don't like to read and they don't like to stay with deadlines.
Yeah.
And I told my mom, I said, look, if you don't tell me about April 3rd, baby, you won't be on there. I'm just like, but she'll be there. She'll be there. But I mean, so that's just where we at now. All we have to do is just turn in our guest list and literally be there at 9 o'clock. That's Sunday.
I like that.
I mean, you can have a whole bridal party and everything. Like they have it all lined up and set up. It's so easy. Like, so for those out there watching, Carnival Cruise, 5 stars.
Yeah. So my cousins, they got married on the Carnival Cruise, but I didn't know that the people could just come on the cruise and then leave. We actually did the 4-day cruise with them, but I didn't realize that they had it set up that way too. That's really cool.
Yeah. Get everything in one bit.
Yep.
Be done with it.
And then we out.
See y'all in 7 days.
Message.
Like I said, so 7 days, you got the wedding coming up, you going through some engagement. Now, tell me, what advice would you have for anybody else? We already talked about don't worry about the timelines. The timelines are just timelines, but they individually serve individual purposes. What other advice would you give for people?
If I had to tell anybody, man, I mean, you know, like Rhonda say, man, get rid of the bookmarks. Stop trying to go out there and find this 6-figure guy or this 6-figure chick. You know, if it's somebody you want to deal with, man, deal with it. If it don't work, it just don't work. If it work, great. If it don't work, you know, we still gonna be friends. You know, when I see you, we still gonna, you know, pound it out. And, you know, just stop holding everything against somebody, man. Like what she did in her relationships, it ain't held against me. What I did in my relationship, I don't hold it against her. So, you know, we didn't bring no baggage into this thing.
No. I would highly recommend just have effective communication. Like it be days because I haven't cohabitated with anybody like ever. So as far as like, oh, okay. So this is how, you know, I had to get to the point where it's like, okay, we're doing this together. And we literally sit here and we talk. Like we talk like I can talk to him like I'd be like, bro, like it ain't always that ain't always where it is. It's just like, hey, like today. I mean, just today. I was like, you got a little, are you annoyed? You got a little attitude today. No, my attitude's messed up. So it's just, I couldn't take it personally like he was coming at me about something, but I just wanted to know, like, am I feeling the wrong vibe right now? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, I didn't know I was coming off like that. My bad. It, just really, literally having small communications, the talks. You have to talk. We talk about everything all the time.
Every day.
All the time.
We smoke.
And sometimes we don't.
Day.
Sometimes we don't like each other. I know I don't.
Yeah.
Then it be 5 minutes past, and I'm like, "Oh, you cool again? We straight."
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the honest thing we want, though. Like, again, it's data for the real. So we want to hear real stories from real people about the pros and the cons. Like, don't dress it up. You know, beginning of the video, I was like annoyed with him. Like, didn't you just go through a whole stuff? Really? Like, but that's the realness of it, right? Because oftentimes people are like, oh my gosh, you guys are perfect. You guys have everything going great. And that, no, he annoys me and I annoy him. Like,
that part.
That's the reality of it. So thank you for keeping it real, because that's what this is about.
Because the real part is how you handle those adversities. If you mad, be mad. But learn how to get over it, move on, address it, and keep it rocking. And
That's how we do it on a day-to-day basis, man. Like, you know, she say some things that upset me, and I be like, okay.
I ain't taking it back. I said what I said.
Then I say some things, she be like,
All right, man, then I got you. That's cool. But we don't do tit for tat. Like,
no.
we don't play them tit for tat games. Because hey, Marcus, you know your brother is super competitive, right? And I am too. Like, you're not gonna just do it. You can't handle me like that. Like, no. And that's one thing I like about Keith, because he don't, like, I can't push him over. If that makes sense. Like, nobody really wants somebody you just push over, you know, like, you have to stand your ground, like, no, that ain't gonna work, that ain't, you know. And then we come to a common ground and we move forward.
we literally just had a discussion last week about not being, people shouldn't be pushed over, guys shouldn't have, and they need, sometimes people just want something, need a little resistance. You know?
Yeah.
I'm taking my feet in the sand with the kickstand back, like, how we finna do that? I'm open 75 for swinging, but guess what? I'm gonna swing all 75 of them. I might not land down.
I'm like, you did good at swinging.
Straight windmill, you hear me?
Ain't landed one. Hold up, for the people that's watching, it's not abusive, guys. It's not jokes. Like, no.
We know, well, yeah, put it out there.
Right.
Yeah, he's not abusive. He's far from it.
Yeah.
He is far from that.
Very chill.
But when
Extremely chill.
now I gotta be messy right there.
Okay.
So, Rhonda, I've been on Keith a while now, so I'm gonna ask you a question. How many times has he made them damn smothered pork chops for you? You only go to dish he has in the arsenal.
I'm blinking twice, Mark.
Need help.
We got to get off the hog. I was just saying, like, we got to get off the hog, bro. Like, but that's what's crazy. That's the first time I ever had him that way. I've never had him, and I was like, okay, I had to call mom on that, and she want to know the recipe, and you know. But yeah, he has made those
Several times. I smothered anything.
Okay, and every time he make them, I'll be like, my hand's gonna swell up, but that's okay. Thank you, babe. Appreciate it. Yeah.
But I hadn't made him about 2 months now.
It's been a while because I'm trying changing your diet, right? So.
He's so petty.
Hey,
So-
It's cool. It's So petty. I be telling people, look, he petty, y'all. He petty.
I'll be petty, so you can see
No,
my
he petty.
You can see my petty. You can see my pettiness. It is what it is.
But what I can say, you know, being at the time that I've been knowing my brother, like he always held me accountable for, you know, everything that I did. And like if I was out of line on some things, he'll be the first one to point it out, and I'll be like, damn, I really did that. Oh, okay, cool. So that don't happen no more. And vice versa, like, you know, just casually, just me and him just go hang out and, you know, just kick it. And we talked about everything. So being that I was never that communicator until I met my brother about 5-6 years ago. Like I wasn't the person that I wanted to talk about my feelings, or I didn't want to talk about your feelings, and that just wasn't my cup of tea. But now it's like I'm just basically an open book now, you know. You know, I cry in front of her, and you know, I break down, and
I'd be like, the first time I was kind of like, oh, okay, what I do there?
what I do with that?
I had to work on that too because I really wasn't raised with the how you say lovey-dovey affection, and I wasn't raised like that. Like my dad was. My mom was like, I love mom, don't get me wrong, but my mom was like more of the, hey, get your shit together, you be all right, you know. Da, da, da. But my dad was more like, hey, baby girl, da, da, da. But he'd also be like, but I wasn't raised in that environment to where if someone cried or showed their emotions, the emotions that we see that I was always like kind of engraved in was like, not say anger, but it was more or less like firm. Like, you ain't supposed to cry. Suck this shit up. Let's go. You know you better than that. Let's do it. You know, that type thing. It wasn't like, oh, it's okay, you'll get them next time. No, it wasn't that. No, Ron, you're supposed to be getting 15 buckets. What are you doing? You know, it was always like that. So coming like in dating and meeting people as far as friendships, stuff like that, I'm always the tough girl. I was always the, oh no. They used to call me Ron Eggs. I'm pro-black type shit, you know. So I'm like, okay, but I like white people. It's cool, you know. But I just know what I know. But I mean, I've always just been that person. So meeting Keith and having a man that's actually like, he will get emotional. The first time we was talking about something, and I was like, oh, dang, he really is. Because it was always men don't cry, you know. So when I see it, I'm like, you front, because the back of my mind, kids like, oh, this is another stunt to try to. You know, but I had to erase that, like, no, you can't think like that. Everything he do, you're going to always think it's something. And I'm like, no, I can't. That's not fair to him. And another thing, as far as, like, advice, being in a relationship is not about you anymore. It's not about Rhonda anymore. And I know what type of person I am. I'm like a real nurturer, giving, servitude type of woman. So I'm going to fix your play first. That's just how I am. I don't care who it was. I mean, I even do it to my platonic friends. Like, I'm just a servitude type of spirit person. So I take myself out of that, and I make it a point to make sure that you're okay. You know, how is your day going? You know, make sure you straight, and make sure your day is good. And it's vice versa to him, to me as well. So it's about giving. It's not about taking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I kind of just take myself, not to take myself all the way out because I'm still going to love Rhonda for sure. But at the end of the day, I know it ain't just me. It's me and Keith.
Right.
And if you ain't okay, then I'm not okay. That's just how I go. It's not like, oh, okay. And also to the world or whatnot, one thing I'll say too, if you have a problem in your relationship, that's y'all problem. I'm not gonna go call it my mama, my sister, my nieces, and all my best friends, because guess what? I learned this from my sister and one of my really, really close friends when they were dealing with their husbands at the time or whatever. Nobody knew none of their problems. We thought that their spouses was the best thing on sliced bread until it was time for them to literally, oh yeah, I just wanted to tell you I'm done with X, Y, Z. And I'm like, what? I had to grieve that. Like, oh my God, you know. So whatever problem you have in your household, that's y'all problem. It ain't for you to go tell somebody else, because that other person is not gonna see when y'all make up, and they gonna be looking at.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there
Oh,
goes
you still a big dude though.
Yeah.
I done been on both sides of the coin. And so that's one thing I really like. I don't play about that. Like if we got an issue or something going on, it's me and Keith issue.
Yep. I want to piggyback on two things you said, Rhonda. You said you dropped a bunch of nuggets, but I want to touch on two things because that was a lot of nuggets. Two of the things that you dropped on, one of the things I want to touch on is when you talked about Keith crying. And I want to talk about the importance of having space for our men to be vulnerable with us. Because Black men have not, first of all, being emotional and being open about emotions is not something that they're even really still used to doing, right? And so we have to make space for them to be comfortable with being vulnerable. And that vulnerability includes crying. It includes telling you their deepest, darkest, everything that's going on inside of their heart and their minds, their emotions, all of that. And it's good that we, even though, because I'm not used to that either, right? And so I'm thinking like, how did I get into a space where I started to make space for that? Well, I started to make space for it because I started making space for myself for it first. I made space to myself to be vulnerable with me first. So it was a lot easier for me to be open to allowing someone else to be vulnerable and show their emotions and all of that to me. The second thing that I want to hit on that you said was about it was one of the last things you said. Taking what happens inside the house outside the house. That is something I learned years ago. So I've been married twice. So what I learned was what I would do is I would go and I would tell my sister, I would tell my besties, I can't believe he did such and such, such and such. In fact, one of my best friends, he was sharing with me what was happening with him and his wife. Well, what that's caused is to this day, I don't deal with his wife because he told me so many negative things about her that I don't deal with her. She don't deal with me, I don't deal with her. And you don't want those types of relationships, right? This is one of my best friends. Yeah. And so that makes it awkward, right? If I share with people what's happening with me and Marcus, which is probably a great thing. People think our relationship is so amazing and wonderful because I don't share stuff. I don't take anything that happens, and that's important advice that you said, and I'm glad that you said that, Rhonda. What happens in your house stays in your house. Because if you need somebody to talk to, you talk to, I have two people that I trust wholeheartedly that I can say anything to, but it's very rare I even say something to them. But if I need to, I know they're there. And both of them are married. Both of them have been married for a very long time. And so they understand it. They get it. They're not judgy. They're not jumping on my side because of who I am to them. But I think it's just a healthier way to have a relationship with your friends and your mate. That's how you keep the healthiness going and those boundaries, right? What you think, babe?
So I want to go back to what you talking about the vulnerability. You know, it has to be to a point where a man can trust a woman to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And let those emotions go out when necessary. Because if you don't let out in a healthy way, they manifest and come out in an unhealthy manner. Right. And that's where bigger problems pursue. Heaven forbid it becomes physical, or you have to act out in an irrational mind state.
Yeah.
So when your lady allows you to be there and have those moments to release, and knowing like that it's not going anywhere, that's important.
Right.
Yeah. I don't need you running telling, oh, he's crying his ass off because of such and such. Yeah. I love him, but he's a crybaby. No, but it's that moment that in these four walls of our relationship, there's nothing but us two. As a man, not man as a woman, you need that safe space. Yeah. You know, where I know it's strictly between you. Even if we go our separate ways, for some heaven forbid, that's still always going to be between us.
Yeah, it's still sacred.
Yeah, you know, yeah, certain lines don't cross.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and also, I also want to go back to you, Keith. One of the things we discussed about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer. When you're in a relationship, we talk about how we move different compared to when we were single.
Mm-hmm.
We move a lot different, you know. And sometimes those outside factors expect us to move in those same ways when we were single.
Yeah.
How we just said, no, I'm in a relationship. I don't do that. I don't go this way. I don't just hang out this and that. There's a place I should be and a place I want to be. And they both are the same places. Next is at home with my lady.
Yeah.
And I just want to share how you was talking about that. Like, no, I just can't go hang out and do this every day.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is, matter of fact, if I want to, just for example, if I want to go smoke, hell, I go smoke on my patio. Remember we was talking about picking up some cigars, get a box of cigars, and I got a whole patio we can smoke on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like you guys doing right now, which when we get up this live, I may have to fire one up in honor of y'all.
Hey, same here, man. I pulled up. We can put one down.
So it's 7:57, right?
Yep.
And we always are respectful of time. And I want to first say congratulations to you all. We are extremely happy for you all. Extremely excited for your journey. And we really appreciate you all sharing the journey with us. And we are excited that we've been able to witness the journey as well. It's been beautiful to watch. One of the other things I wanted to say is I also even appreciate the privacy, yet the sharing of your relationship. Because I think that's so important. And a lot of times people don't talk about that enough, but I think it's so important to recognize the privacy, yet the sharing of the relationship. Because not everybody needs to know every aspect of what's going on and what you're doing, but you all realize there's a great balance. Just from what I see, there's a great balance there. I just wanted to recognize that about you all. And thank you all for your continued support of DAR and what we're doing. And hopefully you all will be able to share the YouTube video with others to see, because this is a great message. Like it's been so many nuggets that have been dropped, and other people need to hear this from, the time span of how long you're with someone does not matter. If you all feel it's right to do, then do it. Do not be stuck in a box, and don't be concerned and consumed with what the world says and what this person says and what that person says. And to what Rhonda said, the nugget she dropped about the bookmarks, to Keith just watching and paying attention to Rhonda to know what type of engagement was going to be the most heartfelt and authentic. To all of the things that I can go on and on and on, because I was picking up what y'all was going down. I was picking it up. So I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Babe, you got some closing words?
Everything she said.
Well, I want to say thanks for having us on. I'm going to continue to support Dar and Kia and Marcus. Support Keith. We'll come back anytime.
All right.